Okay guys, good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are on this planet we call Earth. Again, this is Dr. Fraser, and we're going to continue on what we've been dealing with from the beginning of this month. I just want to give you a little bit of a playback on what we've been talking about. In the beginning we talked about whatsoever a man shall desire, so you must have a strong desire. And we talk about you writing the vision down, whatever you are desiring this year. If you're desiring to make $100,000 a month, write that down. If you're desiring to have a healing in your body, write that down. If you're, whatever you're desiring, we said you should write down the vision, okay? People call it a dream book or a dream page, whatever it is, or a vision page, whatever it is, write it down. And I did mention that you should not have this on your computer, okay? It must be written down either on your wall or on a piece of paper on your desk. You see it every time. And the next step that we're going to talk about today, and also we talk about you visualizing that thing come to pass, the power of visualization, that you see yourself seeing that thing come to pass. For example, I'm looking for $100,000 a month. And I'm already seeing that. I'm already making a list of things that I'm going to use that money for. I'm making a list of those, the things that funds will be used, okay? So you must visualize it, you must see it. Now today, in my lesson today, I'm gonna try to keep this very short for you so that you can get some pearls from this. Because as we enter into 2015, if you did not make a dream board, if you don't have a clear plans where you are going, if you don't have a clear way where you're going, then the 2015 is going to come and go, and you're going to be at the same place. You achieve nothing. And then you say 2016 is your year. I'm telling you, every year is your year. Every day is your day. That is why we say this is the day that the Lord has made, that I will be glad and rejoice in it, and I will make use of the day, because every day is a good day, okay? You know, when you go to the car salesman, they're going to buy a car, they'll tell you this. When you go in the beginning of the month, this is what they're going to tell you. Say, you want to buy a car in the beginning of the month, this is a very good time to buy the car. Why? Because this is just the beginning of the month, and my boss want to get rid of every car that we are getting into the consignment very quickly, so that our inventory can our inventory can increase. So get a car now at the cheapest price, and they'll sell the car for you. When you come in the middle of the month, so this is the middle of the month, and we almost hit our target, so almost there. So we're trying to give away the cars very quickly, so that the next consignment that's going to come, we will have more room for it, and so they'll sell the car to you. The same way, when you come at the end of the month, they say, my boss is just getting ready to receive the new consignment of cars, so we're just giving everything away for bonus. What I'm trying to arrive at is that every day is a good day. Every year is a good year. But it depends on how you make the year. It depends on how you make the day. Because if you think the day is a bad day, it's going to be a bad day. If you think the year is going to be a worse year, it's going to be a worse year. So every year is a good year. Can you hear what I'm saying? Every day is a good day. So we've been talking about you writing your vision down and visualizing it come to pass, and having visions and seeing it come to pass, and live the dream as if you already have it. That's how Jesus taught, and that is how all the wealthy people have lived. They see it as it's already there, baby, and they live it. And that's how I'm seeing my $100,000 a month project. I'm already seeing it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm making a list of all the things that money is going to accomplish, okay? So the next step, after you've written the vision down and you're seeing the vision every day and you're making affirmation of it every day, the next thing you want to go is we're dealing with using the Bible that in Mark 11, we're using the principle that Jesus taught that can be used in every sphere of our life, okay? It can be used in business, it can be used in family, it can be used in church building, it can be used in Whatever project you have, you can use the same principle. It's taught through several, spiritual books and several books when you read them. Okay, so Jesus said in Mark chapter 11, which is our base, and he says that truly I say unto you, whosoever. Okay, so it doesn't matter what tribe you are in, doesn't matter what race you are, doesn't matter what color you have, it doesn't matter what kind of education you have or you don't have. Okay, he said whosoever. So it means you. It means you. Whosoever shall say to this mountain. So here it said whosoever shall say to this mountain. He didn't say whosoever shall pray. He said whosoever shall say. So after you've written your vision down, after you have visualized it and you've seen it and you're walking the dream, you're walking as if you already have it, then the next step is you begin to say it. You call it the power of affirmation. You begin to say it, because when you say it, it establishes. Okay, he said that whatsoever you shall decree a thing. Okay, in the book of Job, it says, decree a thing and it shall be established. Okay, so you've written it down, you are seeing it happen, and now the next step is to begin to say it. And this is where many people, stop right there, because they begin to think about it in their mind. But he didn't say you should think about it in your mind. He said it was whosoever shall say. So you gotta say it, baby. You gotta say it, my friend. You gotta say it. You gotta confess it. You gotta read it out until you begin to believe it. Because as you begin to say it day and day out, by day number 21, as psychologists will say that if you do something continually for 21 days, it becomes a habit. So as you begin to say it, then it begins to materialize for you. Okay, you begin to see yourself doing the things that you gotta do to get it materialized. So he said, whosoever shall say to this mountain, be removed and cast out. So that my emphasis is on saying. Okay, you gotta say it. You gotta affirm it. You gotta say it every day. I'm gonna make $100,000 a month. I'm making $100,000 a month. Or I'm getting a new house. I have a new house already, and I know where the house is. I have it. I already have it. I can see it. I have it. As you continue to affirm it, you are causing it to be established. What basically you are doing is this. You are pulling this from the heaven realms, or whatever you may call it. You're pulling it from the invisible world and you're bringing it into the visible world by your affirmation. Okay, and that's what Abraham did. When God told him that you're going to have a child, you know what he did? He was walking around and people will ask him, Abraham, what is the next child? I said, well, I have my son already. I can see him playing the games with the other kids around. I can see my son already. I can see the whole world. I can see thousands of children. Because I have thousands of children. He began to say those things. And that's what the Bible says. He called the things that be not as though they were. So what did he call? He called the children forth. From where? From whatever realms they are in, from the invisible world to the visible. Because it does no good to you if you have all these things hidden in the visible world. God does not need money. God doesn't need mansions. God doesn't need a Rolls Royce or a Jaguar or a BMW. God doesn't need those things. You need it. You and I need those things. But God has them all. He's given everything unto man. There is no reason why anybody should be poor on earth. And one of the mountains of this earth is poverty. Poverty is a mountain. So God is saying, if you shall say to this mountain, if you shall say to poverty that I'm no longer going to be poor, this is what I'm going to have. So if you begin to affirm that day in, day out, you begin to believe it. And when you believe it, that is when that miracle begins to happen. And so here, God is saying that if you shall say, so you gotta say. If you need healing, you gotta say, I'm healed. And as you begin to say it all the time, so if your eyes couldn't see before, you say, my eyes can see. And you begin to exercise that by saying it continually, then it's gonna happen. And there's a good story in the Bible, in the book of 1 Samuel, about a man called David and Goliath. It's a very popular, story, childhood story. When growing up in Sunday school, they were telling us some of those stories, okay? And so Goliath is the very tall warrior who comes in every day. You can read the story in 1 Samuel chapter 17. the whole of the chapter 17. You can see the story there, but I'm going to give some little highlights here since I don't want to keep you very long. I just want to give you some pearls so you can take for the week. And so, Goliath comes out every morning and he stands on top of the mountain and said, give me a man to fight me. If he's able to kill me, I'll become your slave. Me and all my people are going to become your slave. But if you cannot, then you become a slave. And the Bible says that the men of Israel, the whole army, they were so afraid and they would be shaking. Basically, their knees were shaking when this guy would come around. Okay, and then what this happened for 40 days. 40 days. I don't want to go into numerology, but 40 is the number of trials. Okay, so this guy was tempting them. He was on their necks. And today, the voice of Goliath is still sounding today. That you are going to be poor. Your family was poor, and so poverty is for you. You're just going to work, 9 to 5 the rest of your life. That is the voice of Goliath, my friend. That is the voice of Goliath. And he sounded every morning on that mountain top, which is your head right here. It's sounding here every morning. And so Goliath was shouting every single morning, okay? And they were so afraid of it. And that is how it's sounding today. From generation to generation, we've been programmed to work from 9 to 5, or we've been programmed to do certain things. That's the way it has to be. The doctor said you are ill, and so you accept it. That is the voice of Goliath. Can you hear me now? That is the voice of Goliath. And so one day, David comes on the scene to visit his brother. The father sent him. I told you he was youngest there, and this guy had experience in the desert, but nobody knew about it. And sometimes the things that you go through are experiences for you that you're going to use to overcome the Goliath in your brain, the voice of Goliath in your mind, the voice of Goliath you hear all the time, that you cannot do this, this is difficult, this is for only the gurus. That is why you cannot be a successful marketer. That's why you cannot be a successful preacher. You cannot be a successful husband or father. That is the voice of Goliath. And today I challenge you that you should not bow to the voice of Goliath. Let the giant inside you rise up. Let the David inside you rise up and overcome the Goliath. And let's see how David did it. David came and then he had the Saul was saying that anyone who can go fight Goliath and kill Goliath, what's going to do is that's going to give the daughter to that person to marry. So David asked all the people around and said, what is the king going to do? And they tell him the same thing. And so finally, David told the people that don't be afraid. See what he said? He said, don't be afraid that this guy is going to be taken down by me and I'm going to kill him. What did he say? He spoke it. He spoke it. He told many people around him. So they had it. And I told his brothers around him were telling him that he couldn't do it. Why is he here? He should get out of his place. But sometimes when you have a dream and a vision, the people around you may not understand the dream and the vision. The people around you may not understand the mission you're on. The people around you may not understand what you are up to. And you don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to tell them anything. I've had many people tell me when I was growing up that I was not going to amount to anything. But I didn't believe those voices of Goliath. And what happened is this, that David was taken to the king and he spoke the same word. The Bible says he spoke. So that's what Jesus was saying in Mark 11, if you shall say. So David spoke to that mountain. He spoke to that mountain. This was the voice of Goliath. He spoke to that mountain. And David said, who is this? He said, this is what I'm going to do to him. I'm going to kill you today. He told Goliath, I'm going to kill you today, and I'm going to cut off your head, and I'm going to give your body to the carcasses, your carcasses to the birds and the animals, and they're going to eat you up. And so when he ran to the battle, he picked up the sling and threw it, and it hit the forehead of Goliath. And that guy was all dressed up. So how did it hit his forehead? Well, when you begin to say that which you believe in, if you need to say the things that you're dreaming about, God opened the door for you. The Bible says he opens doors and no man can shut it. And people say he shut doors. God does not shut doors. Can you hear me? God doesn't close doors. He opened doors for you to go through them, okay? In the book of Isaiah, he says that he will break the bronze doors and he will shut out the iron gates for you. So God doesn't close doors. He has an open door before you, and you got to walk into that open door and take the hidden things, okay? So what I'm telling you today is that David spoke and said, I'll cut off your head. And we know the rest of the story, that Goliath was killed. And the funny thing is that he did not even have a sword when he was saying it. So some of you don't even have the capital to even do advertising. You don't even have the money to buy a new house. You don't even have that money to even buy a car. You don't even have that connections that you're looking for. And David didn't have a sword, okay, when he said he was going to cut off the head of Goliath. He had no sword in his hand. But as you say it, something is going to happen supernaturally. You're going to have some connections. You're going to have your advertisement will begin to be seen, because that is what you desire. So whatever you desire, whatever you can see, you begin to say those things. And if you don't doubt in your heart, then God will do something supernatural, or the spirit world will do something. Or doors will be open to you. You're going to have connections that you walk through these open doors and have things happen to you. And your life will change. And we know the rest of the story. So what I'm sharing with you this morning is that, or this afternoon, or tonight, wherever you are, is that you begin to say those things which you believe. You begin to say those things which you've written down. Say them. And as you begin to say them, opportunities will shut up their head for you. And when those opportunities shoot up your head, walk through those open doors. And don't ever think that any door is going to be closed. Walk through those open doors, because it's you who closed the door in your mind. And don't let the voice of Goliath dictate to you what you can do. Let the voice of David rise up in you and say, I'm going to make $100,000 a month. I'm going to build that church. We're going to build that vision. We're going to feed those children. We're going to, my family will live like the way God wants us to live. That sickness will leave my body, because by the stripes of Jesus I'm healed, because I was programmed to be healthy on this planet called Earth. You dare not let the voice of Goliath dictate to you. You dare not let the voice of the doctors dictate to you, but you will embrace that which God has said, and let that David rise in you and take your position, because God has opened doors before you. You got to see them and walk through this open door, for there is nothing impossible for them who believe in God.